Hello again, 8th grade. It is your favorite math teacher, Miss U, here with the lesson Finding the Slope of a Line. Alright, so this is something we have done before. In order to find the slope of a line, you need 2 points. And you'll either get those 2 points from a table, from a graph, or from a word problem. In this case, we won't be using any word problem, so it's either a table or a graph. Alright, so this is page 18 and 19 in your iReady at home study packets. And I'm going to do the first question and the third question for you completely, and I'll start you off for everything else. Alright, so the directions say, use the information provided to find the slope of each line. State what the slope represents. Alright, so don't just find a number that represents the slope. Tell me what it means, and I'll show you what that looks like with question number 1. So question number 1, we have a table that has seconds on the top row and feet on the bottom row. Seconds, that's our x value, our x coordinate, right? Because our independent variable usually has to do with time, and seconds is time. And then feet, that's our y. Okay, so you have seconds, which is x, feet, which is y, and you want to find your slope. If you look up here on the top right, I have 2 formulas that you can use to find slope. The first one says change in y over change in x. Alright, that triangle stands for change in. You're finding the difference in the y coordinate and dividing it by the difference in the x coordinates, the x values I should say. Or you could use the slope formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? And those little subscript numbers, that's the small numbers on the bottom right, that means your second y coordinate minus your first y coordinate divided by your second x coordinate minus your first x coordinate. So let's go ahead and find the slope for question number 1. So to find my change in y, I'm going to find how the y changes from point to point. From 0 to 30, it increases by 30. From 30 to 60, it increases by 30. So this represents my change in y. My change in y is 30. I'm going to do the same thing on the top, this time finding my change in x. From 0 to 5 is plus 5, and from 5 to 10 is also plus 5. So my change in x is 5. So to find my slope, which is m, I'm going to do change in y over change in x. My change in y is 30. My change in x is 5. And 30 divided by 5 is 6. Alright, so that takes care of the first part of the question, find the slope of each line. Now I have to state what it means. Alright, so I'm working with seconds and feet here. And since feet is y and seconds is x, this tells me 30 feet per 5 seconds, or 6 feet per second. 6 feet for every second. So the easiest way for you to find out what your unit is for your slope is to take the unit for the y. So your unit for your y variable per your unit for your x variable. So for question number 2, your x is hours and your y is dollars. So that's going to be dollars per hour. All right, it works every time. All right, so I'll take that as me starting off question number 2 for you. Don't forget, find your change in y, find your change in x, and then use the slope formula to find your slope. Now question number 3 is on a graph. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take 2 points, because you need 2 points in order to find the slope. So take 2 points, and it can be any 2 here. So I'm going to take, and there's a lot here that we can use. The first point, 0, 0, and this point right here, 7, 14. Now, when you're using 2 points, the best slope formula to use is this one, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? Because now you can go ahead and you can label your x and y coordinates from the 2 points you chose. So in my first ordered pair, this is my first x coordinate, so I'm labeling it x1. This is my first y coordinate, so I'm labeling it y1. In my second ordered pair, this would be my second x coordinate. This would be my second y coordinate. And now that I have all of that, I'm going to literally just take all of these numbers and substitute them where they belong. So my second y coordinate is 14. That's minus my first y coordinate, which is 0. My second x coordinate, which is 7, minus my first x coordinate, which is 0. So I have 14 minus 0 divided by 7 minus 0, which will give me 14 on top, 7 on the bottom, and 14 divided by 7 is 2. So I know my slope here is 2, but again, I need to say what it represents. And remember, little rule of thumb, it's always going to be your y variable unit per your x variable unit. My y unit is miles, and my x unit is hours. So it'll be miles per hour. Boom. All right, so the rest of these questions are pretty straightforward. So what I'm going to do to help you start off is I'm going to select 2 points that you can use for each of these graphs. You can choose your own 2 points, but for anyone who has trouble finding them, at least you'll have the points that I gave you. So for question number 4, you can use 0, 0, and 10, 4. For question number 5, you can use 0, 0, and there's so many. 6, 1.5. For question number 6, you can use 120 and 480. For question number 7, you can use 0, 0, and 610. Number 8, you can use 0, 0, and 460. Number 9, you can use 0, 0, and 640. And for number 10, you can use 0, 0, and 2, 120. All right, so when you get to question number 11, compare finding the slope using a table and using a graph. There are many ways that you can do this. Try your best to answer it comparing the steps that you took when using the table up here with 1 and 2 to the steps you took when using the graphs. I know some of you may use rise over run to find your slope on the graph, which is great, but just remember I'm going to choose 2 different points for this example if I can find some. All right, here's one. All right, I'll use these 2. When you're doing your rise over run, don't count this as 4 going up, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. It is not 4 because of the units. So every time you go up 1, you're actually going up 0.5, not a full 1, right? So that's going to change your rise when you are doing rise over run. So be very careful of that. All right. And that is finding the slope of a line. If you have any questions at all, you can leave a comment down below, or you can email me at supere@albanycommunitycs.org. Remember to submit your work to me on loose leaf paper or on Class Dojo, and I will see you all in the next video.